Podcasting from beautiful Leesburg, Virginia. Welcome to the Music Educator podcast, bringing you tips, tricks, and practical advice that you can use tomorrow. Here's your host and fellow music educator, Bill Stevens.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Music Educator podcast. My name is Bill Stevens. I am your host for today, and today we are in Season 2, Episode 14, and we're going to talk about understanding copyright in music education. Let's get started. As music educators, we deal with regular copyright issues. Understanding copyright in music education is an ethical practice and goal that we should strive for on a daily basis. And these issues may relate to fair use, video recordings, audio recordings, and performances regarding print and music. With the invention of new music distribution and processing services, so has come new challenges with music education in business industries. Most importantly, as music educators, we must stay up to date with understanding these technological changes and protect the intellectual rights of musicians. By abiding and filing complaints of mandatory copyright laws, we help preserve the discipline of our art form. What exactly is copyright? And copyright refers to the right to copy. To clarify, this protects sounds and music from unauthorized revision, reproduction, distribution, and performances. As a result, copyright protects both performance and recordings. Also, owners of copyright even afford the owner certain rights and privileges that include publicly performing copyrighted works, reproduction of the copyrighted work, displayed copyrighted work, and public distribution of copyrighted work. Arranging. When arranging music, it is helpful to know that a work is automatically protected by copyright law when it is fixed in a copy or recording for the first time. In other words, this means that registration is not a requirement under the federal current law as it stands. However, by registering your music does secure your copyright claim. Consequently, when you publish a work, your music will be copyrighted by the publisher. To obtain the proper application and form, go to www.usacopyright.org to register your music. You can also register your work by completing a form, non-returnable deposit, and filing fee to Register of Copyrights, Copyright Office, Library of Congress, Washington, D.C. 20559. Public domain. When a musical work is no longer protected by copyright, it is considered to be in the public domain. It is safe to say that any work published before 1923 is in the public domain as a result of having expired copyright. To clarify, this means anyone can use these works. However, it is essential to point out that anyone wishing to create an arrangement of one of these works with a publishing date before 1923 must still receive permission by the copyright owner to do so. Works published and created after 1923 have the option for a renewal. And renewal could extend copyright protection for an additional 70 years. If you wish to conduct your search of copyrighted materials, please visit the catalog of copyright entries at http://www.loc.gov/copyright/rb.html. Fair use. The idea of fair use refers to the U.S. statute that allows a limited portion of copyright material to be in use. Fair use allows copyright material to be in use for purposes such as news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, criticism, and quotes. Most importantly, you may never claim copyright to someone else's intellectual property unless you have the owner's written consent to do so. Arranging. Know that there is no fair use when dealing with arranging, editing, transcribing, adapting, or orchestrating music. You must send a request for permission to arrange form to the copyright owner. Know that any arrangement of musical copyrighted work made without permission of the copyright owner is copyright infringement. Doing this results in fines of over $40,000. Copying music. What's allowed includes emergency copying to replace purchased copies for an imminent performance. Also, for academic purposes other than a performance, provided excerpts do not exceed 1 copy per pupil. Also, printed copies that have been purchased may be edited or simplified as long as the work is not distorted. What is not allowed? Actions for photocopying. First, copying to create or replace collective works. Next, copying of or from works that intend to be consumed, which include workbooks, exercises, and tests. Also, what is not allowed is the reproduction for the purpose of substituting the purchase of music. And finally, what is not allowed is copying without the inclusion of the copyright notice. Photocopying from books. There are limitations from photocopying from books and periodicals that follow under copyright law under fair use. The guidelines for this include single copying for teachers. Now, this could include a chapter from a book, article from a periodical, a short story, a chart, graph, or diagram. This would also include multiple copies for classroom use, and this would be the copying meets the test or the brevity, the copying meets the cumulative test, and the copy includes a notice of the copyright. Performing. Until 1972, federal law did not protect sound recordings. The copyright owner is the only one allowed to reproduce recordings and sheet music. However, it is important to note that there are some fair use of music education limitations, and these include a single copy of the recording may be made of performances for the evaluation or rehearsal purposes made by the teacher, and a single copy of sound recording may be made and kept by the teacher for the purpose of oral exercises and examinations. Copyright. Musical recordings with your own ensemble. Anyone under certain guidelines can record their group in order to produce a CD that you can sell as long as they do the following. First, receive permission to record by contacting the copyright owner. Second, obtain a compulsory mechanical license, which is part of the requirement of the Copyright Act of 1976. Music educators performing copyright music with their own performing ensembles. It is essential to understand that copyright owners have exclusive rights to their intellectual property. However, music educators have flexible limitations of copyright law for educational use. Music educators are not considered infringing by doing the following. Performance of copyrighted material by instructors or pupils in the course of the face-to-face teaching activities. Performance of non-dramatic literary or musical work on a closed circuit, and this must be part of the systematic set of instructional activities. Performance of a non-dramatic literary or musical work at a school concert if there is no purpose or direct or indirect commercial purpose use. And finally, performance of non-dramatic literary or musical work of a religious nature. Music on the internet. Any public performance of copyrighted material must receive permission for the performance by the copyright owner. This means if you wish to place a recording of your band's performance on its website, it is still considered a public performance. As a result, you must receive permission from each copyright owner to post it on the site. To obtain digital music license, visit ASCAP or www.ascap.com, BMI or www.bmi.com, SESAC or www.sesac.com, or the Harry Fox Agency at www.harryfox.com. Final thoughts. In conclusion, copyright law is a somewhat complicated concept. It is my recommendation, if you decide to monetize your musical efforts, to consult a copyright professional. There are plenty of resources available to avoid copyright infringement. And that's all I have for today. Hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful week, enjoy teaching, and I'll catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Music Educator podcast for the latest tips, tricks, and practical advice you can use tomorrow. You can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Please visit the Music Educator blog at www.forthemusiceducator.com for additional posts and music education news. As always, join in the discussion and let your voice be heard by providing feedback at www.forthemusiceducator@gmail.com or leave a Google voicemail at 703-942-9883. We will see you on the next episode of the Music Educator podcast, and remember, music can change the world.